T.I.'s son, King. King Harris has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected.
On game one. On game one. Come here. Come here. Now I'll show you what I do. Come here. I'll show you what I do. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. We out here.
King Harris just hit rock.
And nobody is left to save him this time. He was warned by his own father, T.I., that his careless actions would eventually catch up with him, and they have. After allegedly crossing the wrong crew in jail, the 20-year-old, who once showed off his fame-like armor, is now sitting behind frigid bars, devoid of all that bluster, and appears to be pleading with his father for assistance. According to rumors, the gangs were not there to create a fight but rather to keep him quiet. The fact that even the children of rap icons are becoming the target of criticism may be a sobering warning. Imagine the chill that goes up his spine as that false certainty escapes him like air from a burst balloon, all while the sound of a steel door slamming into a cold county jail cell reverberates. When King eventually lost it and turned to his father for support, insiders think that's exactly what occurred.
It's the greatest gangster of all times. I will raise this child to torture you the way that you tortured me. I promise you, there will be an indictment in this young one.
He was behaving like a street leader on the internet not too long ago, flaunting his wealth, brandishing guns, and berating anyone who threatened to call him entitled. Now, though, no fans to pique his interest, no cameras, and no Wi-Fi. Just reality solid, loud, and quiet blow. There are usually repercussions at the end of a street story, and he is accepting this fact. King allegedly made a serious mistake when he kept making jokes about older prisoners as if they were reenacting the famous fight in the Waffle House parking lot. This time, however, there were only actual people with legitimate grievances waiting for a loudmouth to put them to the test. No laughing fans, no filming phones, and no security to intervene. When it was revealed that T.I.'s own child, not just any young man, was incarcerated, the entire block seemed to freeze. It was all over in a flash. The fact that King was now a desired target rather than just another obnoxious prisoner caused the tension in that facility to blow apart. Some spotted an opportunity to inspect him and obtain stripes. Others sought retribution for the legacy left by his father. Furthermore, some merely wanted to use him as an example to show that not everyone is shielded by fame. King apparently hastily called Clifford T.I. Harris, the father he had been publicly at conflict with only months before, on the jail phone. He is heard repeating, "Wait till I get back and see him," on one recording that was leaked. Partly angry, partly shattered, his voice trembles. That arrogant tone of voice he had shed online. Lost. Outright fear took its place. A frantic call for assistance, pleading with his dad to intervene before things got out of control. King was discovering the hard reality inside those walls. Your family name may make you well known, but it won't get you respect in a society where reputation is paramount. Being famous won't protect you when everyone is looking at you. All it took was one careless move. King Harris's entire life was turned upside down when he saw the red and blue lights behind his black BMW. Police claimed to have smelled marijuana, discovered weapons in plain sight, and discovered a bench warrant for charges he had been evading. Before long, the son of a trap legend was handcuffed, captured on camera, taken into custody, and aired on TMZ. In a moment, the internet sprung to life. You see headlines, memes, and videos wherever you look. King's notoriety abruptly became a full-fledged show. The crucial query is, would you intervene to save T.I.? Or, if you were him, let him bear the consequences for once. It goes beyond a fight between a parent and son. A whole legacy is on the line here. What about the irony? At first glance, it appeared nearly absurd. King appeared unduly relaxed in the police bodycam clip. He stood chatting to the officers, as composed as ever, as though they were having a nice conversation rather than a felony stop. Unfazed, he said, "You're going to find my guns," as if he were referring to nibbles in the glove box rather than loaded pistols. Overnight, that video went viral. Many were amazed at how at ease he was. Some criticized it for being haughty. Others claimed it demonstrated the alienation that comes with celebrity. When King was freed at dawn after the charges were dropped, the narrative took a different turn. The damage had already done. even though it was simply another famous person's run-in with the law. The headlines blared, T.I.'s son busted with guns and weed. Every blog informed the world that this is exactly the kind of life his father had warned him about. The irony is obvious. The youngster, who was born into affluence, was battling to get away just as his father had done throughout his life. The legal situation swiftly calmed down. However, in a cultural setting, it burst like burning gasoline. King was portrayed in the well-watched movie as a pampered child who was doing everything in his power to prove it. When it was suspected that he had met the wrong individuals and had not just spent a night in the jailhouse, everything changed. Suddenly, embarrassment was no longer the issue. It was a matter of survival. The spiral started at that point. Jokes ceased, smiles dimmed, and soon they were overcome with anxiety.
I'm outside. Okay. I'm outside. Come on, shake some. Come on, shake some. Come on, shake some. Hey, get your employees. Get your employees.
The only law that applies inside those gates is that money is deserving of respect. Additionally, you quickly run out of money if you spend it poorly. Additionally, you're more open to assault if you're broke. King Harris allegedly carried his boisterous, arrogant personality into jail, just as he did on the internet. Having grown up in a mansion, he was eager to show off his courage. Instagram isn't a jail, though. What about the occupants? Memes cannot be used to respond to trolls such as these. These people didn't want followers. They had nothing left to lose and were hustlers and lifers. According to a number of legends, King entered deftly, making jokes, naming people, and possibly even bragging about his father's identity. And his greatest error was that you are put to the test in such a circumstance. But concede, you will be singled out for that. The whispers soon spread, and eventually everything was different. After seeing them shot, more prisoners hurried in. This was a test of the Harris name, not just a way to check on a rowdy kid. The child of T.I. was no longer speaking exclusively for himself. He was carrying his father's legacy, his family's reputation, and even a little of Atlanta's hip-hop pride. The target behind those bars is large enough for everyone to see due to its weight. Reports state that King was soon confronted and intimidated with issues far more serious than a small quarrel in the showers. These men wanted to send a message, not beat him up. The message was clear and simple. In this situation, it will be advantageous to not be famous. The panic really started to sink in at that point. There was no more "I'm built for this" nonsense. According to insiders, King was extremely distressed to learn that some crews wanted to destroy him instead than test him. At that moment, fear took control. Once more, he called the jail phone and begged his father, T.I., to intervene before it was too late. This time, he was not asking for influence. He was pleading for his life in the hopes that someone not in his immediate social circle would utilize their resources, connections, or generosity to find a solution before it became fatal. King had been making checks that his life could not pay for months. This was the bill's due date, and his personal safety was the cost. For many years, T.I. had often warned him that following this route would not lead to fame but rather jail time or worse. However, King dismissed it, as do many obstinate 20-year-olds who believe they have everything worked out. A father and son nearly converted the VIP suite into a UFC cage battle during the 2023 Falcons game, which went viral. It was more than just family strife. They were firing warning rounds in real time. King was shouting to anybody who would listen that he wasn't brought up in a privileged environment, claiming that instead of growing up in the cozy luxury of T.I., he was raised at his grandmother's home and Tiny's property. He wanted to appear genuine, unvarnished, and rough. The type of child who was raised in poverty rather than in affluence. The sad part, though, he became more and more entangled in the same maze from which his father had spent years attempting to free him the more he attempted to prove it. T.I., a man who had already braved the fire, fought his way out, and served time for federal firearms offenses, was only able to shake his head in the meantime. He must have been affected differently to see his child pursuing a suffering he had once fled. It was a tale T.I. heard previously. He had experienced it. Therefore, it was a cruel irony that King's voice broke in agony as he begged for assistance from behind jail. The child was angry at the same guy who had once attempted to outshine him, the same boy who had rolled his eyes at every warning. However, this time, T.I. didn't make any interesting Instagram posts. No rants, no lofty declarations, no pitying posts. Just silence, the kind that speaks volumes without the use of words. But the phones were blazing behind the scenes. According to sources, some of the original members of Atlanta's underground circle were covertly hooked in, lawyers were regularly hired, and old friends were called. T.I. was allegedly trying to ensure his son's safety by checking angles, calling favors, and pulling every string he could find. The goal was no longer to save a careless kid. The goal was to preserve a legacy. For T.I., it was a matter of personal atonement rather than merely family business. A chance to change the conclusion of a tale he had spent his entire life fighting. King Harris was doomed from the beginning if fame makes one a more desirable target than incarceration.